Good evening, welcome back to Innsbruck. I'm Charlie Bosco. I've got Mike Langley alongside me as I have done all day. I'm very special guest Jörg Verhoeven, who is involved in setting the next round we're about to see. It's the junior bouldering. Jörg, we saw the youth B bouldering on earlier on today. Have you made any changes after seeing that, or are they not that relatable to the juniors?
Like I said this morning, we always make changes. So this is a round we've set pretty early on, so it's almost about 2 weeks ago. So we had no information about the climbers whatsoever, how strong they were, how keen they were. So it's been quite tough. We did a lot of changes. Originally we set it way too easy since we thought the climbers were going to be tired. We thought it might be more like a show event. And then we realized, no, it's just a full-on climbing competition, and climbers are really, they're still feeling strong. So we need to give them something to pull on.
And interesting enough, we've got a couple of really tall climbers, Meichi Narasaki, Kai Leitner.
Yes, yeah.
Have you made any adjustments to try and accommodate that?
Yeah, well, at least we tried. I mean, some of you might have seen a bit of a fiasco in male juniors. Kai is just ridiculously tall. Actually, we didn't really count with him. We kind of forgot about him because I measured with Meichi Narasaki, who is one of the tallest, but Kai is actually, in wingspan, he's a lot bigger. So 2 of our jumps, he could just shortcut it. Then again, we didn't want to change the entire problem. Even if you can shortcut, it's not supposed to be that much easier, because if you make it like Kai-proof, that's how we call it, then it might not be doable for the others. I mean, there's some smaller competitors, there's some really tall competitors, so it's kind of like you need to be in the middle.
And once again, you've set really aesthetic boulders. It seems to be one of the themes of the week that you guys have made the boulders look nice as well as climb well.
The Austrian Federation offered us a ton of volumes and like the newest climbing holds and material that's on the market. So obviously we had a lot to choose from. And of course then we want to use it. And then again, these rounds, we could use all of the holds since the rest has been taken down and washed. So we basically had a choice from like 1,000 volumes.
Okay, we got no excuse really.
No.
So here the climbers are out onto the stage. 2 minutes observation per boulder. That's the start list. The climbers coming in reverse order of how they did in the speed climbing. We just had the speed climbing just over an hour ago, and they're coming out in reverse order. So Claire Burfeind was 6th in the speed climbing. Julia Pantelieva first. They are reversed to come into the bouldering. Let's just have a quick look at the men's start list before we start talking through the boulders. See there, Will Bosey, ditto, 6th in speed, first out in the bouldering. Meichi Narasaki, who we just mentioned, won the speed climbing, his last out in the bouldering. Jörg, first chance to have a look at these boulders. Men's and women's number 1. Men starting on the big red volumes.
Yeah, the first male problem is actually one of the trickier, almost like, I would say, font style problems. We adjusted it a tiny little bit, so that's because conditions are quite good actually. It's the rain started, so that means it's back to cold. The wall doesn't get wet, so I think they'll have great conditions. The start is kind of tricky, and the end is the start is a bit powerful. The end is rather tricky. So again, we made both female and male first boulder problems friendly. We want competitors to have fun as well, to have a good start of the round. We don't want to scare them off right away.
And we just caught a glimpse of the women's route, completely different style. It's not actually a slab, that left-hand section of the wall.
It is actually a slab. It's the only slab on the wall.
By what, 2 degrees?
I don't know, probably about 5 to 7. Like that, it's your classical slab. And the girls seem to have a hard time on the previous rounds on slabs. So we try to make it friendly, but they still need to be, they need to be, they need to put all the weight on the feet and not, forget about the hands for a minute.
And that move over,
have a hard time with.
That move over to the bonus, that's a kind of creeping slowly leftwards
well,
move.
you can see that like big foot. It's in the middle of the slab, so if they're standing on top of it, and they can actually like let go of their hands and reach over to the bonus. And then the last move is kind of like, a quick step up.
So men's 2, it's immediately right of the doorway they'll emerge out of. It looks at quite a minimalist problem.
Yes, this is one of the problems we kind of had to adjust due to Kai Leitner. The first move is a bit of we call it a barn door. you kind of latch this right hand side pull and the left hand. It most of the times it comes off, so the door opens and you try to not fall off. It's a very awkward top, so it's not very hard, but I think they'll have a hard time on it. It's still one of the easier or the medium problems.
But you think we might not see too many flashes of it?
It's hard to say. It's one of these problems also for a route setter. It's hard to say whether they'll just find it really easy or they'll struggle on it. You don't really see the female problem right now, but we call it the paper planes.
There it is.
You
Yes.
can kind of see. Some people call it bats or birds, or I kind of see a couple of paper planes on the wall. It's a quite steep problem, really compression-y, lots of helix, and in general, girls love helix. So it's kind of like bumpy back and forth between those paper wings. It's quite powerful, but most of the girls that are on this round, they're pretty strong. They're not the smallest. And even those who are in this round, it's the same for the men actually, those who made it to the Olympic final or to the combined final and were not in the regular final, they're still very, very strong boulders. We know them from the other rounds. So we're quite happy with that.
Okay, so yeah, you can see there Claire Burfine just
Well,
trying
for
out
example,
the lower moves.
Margot and Francisca Ster, they didn't make it to the regular final. Same with Kai Harada, but they're one of the favorites.
There seems to be some issue with the timings here because the men are on to Boulder 3, women are still on Boulder 2.
Yeah, but it's not that big an issue.
There they go off to Boulder 3.
now-
So men's 3, we
Men's
can see
3
the
is
top of now.
one of the power problems. It's a very dynamic problem. There's actually two, either dynamic moves or full-on jumps. It's very, modern boulder style, I would say. Jumping around. It's not complete circus style, but it's definitely not your casual power problem. Girls number 3, we're about to see is a very similar style. They kind of jump around the corner. They might use this left green volume on the arete a little bit to jump with both hands to these 2 red volumes, and then afterwards it kind of changes. You have to sit on one of the volumes, stand up really slowly, and the top hold is completely wrong side up or wrong side down, I might say. So they have to stem their way up around the corner, and if you got a good feeling and a good sense of body movement, it might feel really easy. Some might struggle. We're about to see.
So just talk us through this first move. We can see Claire and Margot
Yes,
just discussing it.
It's a very, very big foot. That volume is, you can almost sit on it. I'm pretty sure you can make a no hands, but obviously from the start hold, you kind of have to like slowly move your way left to the volume and then like step up and jump around the corner. I don't think any girls are going to do this statically, although we have some pretty tall girls in this round. But yeah, no, that's always the surprise. Eventually the door opens and they're going to latch these both volumes and feet are going to cut. At least that's what we hope.
Jörg, one thing I want to ask you, just walking through the boulders, I wasn't here for the start of the week, and I just watched all the live stream at home. The wall here is actually surprisingly, it's not short in length, but it looks a little bit shorter when you're on the match. It's quite hard to make hard boulders here.
Well, I think it's completely normal size. I think it's 4.5 meters tall. And we cannot set any higher. I think we could, but there's no more T-nuts, and you're not allowed to set higher than 4.5 meters. And due to the steepness of the wall, we actually had a hard time creating short problems. Sometimes you want these 3-move problems, 4-move problems, and with this wall, it's kind of tricky.
So we'll have a look at men's 4 now. Over
number 4
on the left.
You'll probably see pretty soon. It's a very weird start. As a giant yellow ball with a couple of spikes on it. They'll probably have a bit of a hard time navigating around that ball. Starting is not very hard, but it's kind of strange walking to the left. They're kind of rubbing, they'll be rubbing on this ball for a bit, and then they jump off and they'll head into a bit of a no-food section. It's a very powerful problem, and eventually you'll see the Olympic rings. it should have been, of course, a youth A problem, because they're actually going to the Olympics if they make it. But it's, you know, to show that this is a combined round with an Olympic format. We wanted to show that, you know, this is what the Olympics are going to be about.
And that big move up to those first 2 black volumes, the right-hand ones, presumably you go to them dynamically, then what, stop there? Or?
Yeah, it kind of depends. I think maybe Kai and Michi will barely be able to reach them, but they'll still have to cut feet. There's two times 2 bowls, like black slopey holds, and I think we'll see some campusing. Like I said, it's very powerful, but these kids are just, you know, they're so strong. For the girls, we have a total or a very similar problem actually. It's a roof problem, and it's very dynamic and powerful. They the big ball in the roof, it has sort of like an eye feature. You grab it from the start and you make a dynamic move to the lip of the roof, and with some more power and dynamic moves to the top. I think we'll see some foot swings.
Yes, I think we will. Especially powerful finish for the women. Slightly cruel from the route setter, seeing as they've got to get on the lead wall straight afterwards.
Yeah, but they'll be fine. They're still young, and I think they're still in the game. So I have confidence in them.
Still young. Exactly. Jörg, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
For the second time today, really appreciate your input, and we'll let you go and watch the final.
Right, cheers.
Was the sound of Jörg Verhoeven saying bye guys and heading down the stairs from our commentary box. Both Mike and I got told there. Mike, you thought it looked like a relatively short wall. I thought it wasn't a slab on the left.
Well,
I have to say I measured that. I have a tool on my phone for measuring wall angle, and I measured that section at 89 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jörg's got a lot of experience. He's been set on this wall for a few weeks. I was kind of referring to the section as you come out the door on either side. It really slopes off and down the far left-hand side of the wall there.
There we can see the doorway in the middle of the Innsbruck wall. It must be becoming very familiar if you've been watching all our coverage. This is junior combined bouldering. 6 climbers in each round. Just done their speed climbing. Surprise results in both, particularly in the women's. Claire Burfind, who would have expected to have a decent speed climbing run, certainly would have been aiming for top half of the field, you'd imagine, in the speed climbing, and then hopefully be able to bring it home in the lead and bouldering.
Yeah,
a bit of a shocker.
Yeah, she had a bit of a shocker indeed. It's going to be the psychology that's going to be key for her. Hopefully, with the coach over, she can kind of just reset after that speed round. Really disappointed. She is known as a good speed climber, but she's going to come out here, I think she's going to come out with something to prove.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought a woman who's just done the double of boulder and lead would have much to prove. But we'll find out in just a second. There we see part of the Kletterzentrum in Innsbruck. It is enormous, this place. There is Claire Burfind. Sea climbers coming out with all sorts, huge bucket, chalk bags, towels. Nothing for Claire. Chalk bag around the waist, ready to get on with it. And as Jörg sled, relatively friendly start on the slab.
Claire Burfind straight into it then. And is it a slab or is it a vertical wall?
Well, I remain unconvinced that it is a slab, but I will let climbing legend, possibly one of, if not the greatest all-round rock climbers of all time, Jörg Verhoeven, have the deciding vote on that one. If he says it's a slab in my book. Claire, I wondered if she was going for straight for the top. And interestingly enough, our start list says that we are expecting Will Bosey out first, but we have Yannick Floey, and he has a top.
Yeah, Yannick Floey did get knocked out in the first round of the speed. So the start list that we've been given by the IFSC officials are slightly around the wrong way. Will Bosey will be out next. Yannick Floey made mincemeat of that first problem, no problem at all. Obviously very happy on the slabs, and on the slabs is Claire Burfind. Then just got to find the balancing spot, got to find the balance position.
Now she's lining it up to head left out to the bonus again. As I say, there was a slight confusion about the starting order. Will Bosey did finish the speed climb in 5th, but for some reason was marked as coming out first on the official start list we've been given. Either way, it is the reverses of the speed climbing results as we were told to expect, so I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but we've had Yannick Floey out and he's got a top and he's headed back in.
Claire's just not quite found the balance point on this first women's problem. I think number of attempts is going to be crucial here. Not seeing a repeat of the earlier competitions in the Youth B, where we saw lots of flashes throughout the rounds. Looks like the women are off to a hard start. Hopefully Claire doesn't have a negative psychology going into this round. I'm sure she won't. I'm sure she's had enough rest and opportunity to reset, but she's looking at options to bring the right foot up. Looks like she's got all the way, using her wingspan to maximum reach there. Looks like she might have found a trick move through here. The finishing tape does point towards that green hold up there, uses the knee wisely. Claire using every trick in the book now. She's got to stop the barn door on the right hand side. Just got to keep breathing, just let the oxygen in and out, just to keep close to the wall. Uses the bonus hold, but obviously a terrible hold. Looks like she's going to fire up towards the volume.
That looks like the method.
I think she needs to get the left foot up onto the arete, go a bit slower potentially up to the finish hold.
We shall see. She's got 1 minute left to figure this one out. We can see there men's 4 immediately to the right of Claire. Exceptionally aesthetic boulder, very colourful. You've seen the route setters. This is what happens when you let route setters loose on the finest selection of holds of any climbing wall in the world. We had a boulder earlier with apparently 100 screw-on holds attached to it. You can see that boulder there, very aesthetic. Claire Burfinder has 35 seconds to find a top here.
She had another look at the high right foot, really doesn't enjoy the method out onto left. Looks like she's called it a day on that one already. Head down for Claire. Not happy with her first performance. Time will tell how hard that boulder actually is.
Yes, Yannick Floey, meanwhile, great start for him. Needed it, to be honest, after 6th in the speed climbing. He's underway.
Our second starters with a 5th place of the speeds.
So Yannick Floey, just to confirm, that was a flash for him. Claire Burfind got the bonus on her 3rd go. Here is Will Bosey.
Will Bosey slightly disappointed with his speed score. Felt like he could have done better, had a couple of slips and got knocked out. Margot Hayes comes out there and Claire has already gone. There she is, Margot Hayes. Straight onto the slab, no issues. Will she better find the balance point now? It's a really balance-based problem. Not sure if putting up the right foot is going to help. Time's going to tell through that method. This is looking good for Margot. Just slowly wiggling out onto the left arete. This is not really the sort of boulder you want as part of your Olympic combined final. So nervy, this sort of boulder. You can see the wind just blowing her hair a little bit there. Such a tenuous slab. Oh, just twists off the slab.
And that's a heartbreaker. Will Bosey still brushing hard on the men's boulder. If you're just joining us, Charlie Bosco here alongside Mike Langley. As we have been all day, we've had some day of climbing here in Innsbruck, and we've still got an awful lot to come. Bouldering and lead. This is only boulder number 1 in the junior bouldering. Juniors, born in 1998 or 1999, the oldest category of youth climber. And this is the combined Olympic format. We saw our first full Olympic format competition earlier on today.
Margot Hayes then looking for a different option. Looked like she was going to go try going lower down on the volume to try and find the point of balance. Will Bosey on the bottom right of your screen there and looking good. Briefly uses the intermediate hold to go again. Will Bosey now just needs to find the balance point. Red chili boots working as hard as possible as Margot Hayes in the background looks for another option. We saw Claire trying up into the corner. Margot Hayes known for her resilience and method, sort of figuring out different methods. Drops back down. This is burning a lot of time for her here.
Crucially though, it's not burning a lot of attempts. That's why she didn't jump off. Remembering bouldering, it's all about how many boulders you can top, but if she tied, it comes down to how many attempts they took. So you don't want to keep jumping back down onto the mat and start it again. We see that from Margot Hayes. Sensible
looking,
climbing.
Yeah, this is looking much better now from Margot Hayes. Finds the balance point perfectly. Just gets to focus a little bit. Gets the left foot on. This first athlete we've seen get the left foot up. Now just needs to power up to the finish hold. All the way it's got to go through the left foot, hand and the left foot now. Needs to focus. Goes for the stem. That's really good. The hold. She needs the hold. I think she needs to power up here. Interesting. I think the tape is on the finish hold. The tape on the finish hold is the actual green hold, not the volume.
Oh, Margot Hayes realises it now. She's got a minute left. Just needs to compose herself. She thought she topped. You could see she came down, actually asked for the judge for her scorecard, but hadn't touched the hold at the top. The volume itself is not the top hold. It's the green hold bolted onto it.
Yeah, it was slightly misleading. The crowd were giving her the applause, so from her point of view, she felt like she did it. But we knew up here that it's actually the hold on top of that volume. Hopefully we can just pan up and have a little bit of a look at that at some point and see that it's just a thumb catch on that hold. She needs to match two parts of her body on there. Sticks it. There we go. Margot Hayes, very well deserved. Huge smile. The way she went across that slab, making it look like a completely different boulder problem, shows what a bit of determination and anger can do for you.
Yeah, slightly strange for Margot Hayes, actually. Very experienced climber, albeit still a youth athlete, but very clearly labelled. We have had issues with top outs in the IFSC World Cups earlier this year. To me, that's one of the clearer ones. You've got a big volume, admittedly, with a top sign on it, but the tape very clearly pointing to the bolt-on hold. So Margot misunderstood slightly, but she gets the job done in the end. She'll take a very, very early lead here in the bouldering.
Kai Harada comes out in the men's competition then. Aika Tajima also from Team Japan starts her campaign after that staggering top from Margot Hayes. Sort of almost did the boulder problem twice.
Make sure if you've got any predictions to make, any questions, get yourself on Twitter. Hashtag IFSC YWC8 Youth World Championship. Still our hashtag, even though this is actually the combined event. Hashtag IFSC YWCH.
Just see Tajima on the left hand side then, just trying to find the balance point. Saw success with Margot matching the feet on that volume. As Kai Harada looks for the option through this first section, fires up to the bonus hold. Bonus hold is actually a little jib screwed onto the left of that arete. There's great flexibility. She actually had the wrong hand on the bonus hold there. She will secure the bonus hold. I believe that was her first go. So
it would have been a pretty impressive effort if she got it. Actually, simultaneously swapping out her hand for a foot.
Judges have to be a little bit eagle-eyed here as she's making the start into a running jump. She needs to make sure she hits all 4 points onto the 4 starting positions at the same time.
And you can see she's having exactly that thought process as well. Realised she had to just dab her toes down.
She's allowed to jump up to the starting position, but she needs to make sure she secures that official starting position properly. Kai Harada then has a look up at the bonus hold. He seems to be firing up with the left hand as a shoulder move for some reason. Hasn't quite read the left hand side pull like we saw Will Bosey and Yannick Floey having no issues with. So both those guys are putting themselves in a good position. Tajima now, this looks better. Gets the left foot on and the left hand. Now she needs to power up to the top hold. Hopefully she won't make the same route reading errors we saw Margot Hayes. We haven't seen really any issues of that type of nature in the Japanese outfit this year, really. Let's have a look. She's eyeing it up now. Makes a big move. Gets one hand on the top volume, but that's not the finish hold. She's so stretched here. She needs to pounce up to the finish hold. She'll get a match, and she possibly thinks she's got a finish as well. No. Crowd applauding her, but again, she needs to get that green hold. She needs to get the thumbs in there. 2 thumbs.
Yeah, the crowd not helping matters here, because perhaps cheering when they think athletes have got it.
Kai Harada not finding the correct method at all here. This is really surprising. It's a clearly striped bonus hold. You can see him now taking a step back with 1 minute 14 on the clock. Needs to have a rethink about his method there.
And now, Kai Harada in 4th place after speed. Let's go. Let's go, Kai.
Aika Tajima just seemingly gave up on that attempt, really didn't like it at all, just allowed herself to peel off the boulder.
Yeah, it's quite a funny last move that, really, because mean, obviously the route setters have calculated this. They know how tall these athletes are, but you seem to be able to get stretched up to the bottom of that volume that gets you completely stretched, and there's no way at that point you can pounce for the finish hold because you're completely bent straight in the legs, excuse me, with 33 seconds left. This is not looking good for either of the Japanese here. Not a good start for the Team Japan in the bouldering finals. Has another look, tries to wiggle the left toe on, agonising to watch it creep around that finish hold. She has got time, hopefully she'll just jump for this finish hold. Goes for the option of stemming out with the right foot. Doesn't happen. They both walk off the mats. No tops in the bag. Bonus on the left hand side for Tajima, but no bonus for Kai Harada on the right. Didn't seem to find the method at all there. That was quite surprising.
Here's Laura Stuckler. She will get a warm welcome. The first of 2 Austrians in a row on the women's boulders. And Kai Leitner, we just asked Jörg Verhoeven, route setter and climbing legend, if they'd Kai-proofed many of the boulders. He is so tall, but he's not that much taller than Meiichi Narasaki. There's not a huge amount in it, maybe 10 centimetres max.
Let's have a look at Kai's method then. Kai Harada really struggled. What can Kai Leitner do? Uses exactly the same method, but difference is he manages to keep his feet on. That move definitely wasn't Kai-proof. Not much they can do about that though. It's so difficult to make a universal challenge with such a discrepancy in the heights. Has he seen the bonus hold? Doesn't like it. Doesn't flip it just yet. Now he looks at flipping it. Eyeballing that hold.
You could just see him thinking, it looked like a slightly awkward fall there. Just winced a bit for his knees. Obviously no issues at all. He'll be able to carry on. Laura Stuckler meanwhile on women's 1. This boulder already been topped by Margot Hayes. She latches the bonus. Everybody else has already got the bonus as well. Only one climber's got the top. Margot Hayes got it 3rd go. No top for Aika Tajima. No top for Claire Burfind. Laura Stuckler chalks up. Now thinks about going all the way from here. Will she try and do it dynamically? She's just preparing herself for launch and takes it.
That's good. That's quite interesting. I just double check with the judge to see if she did it. No,
yeah,
she had the right thumb in the hold, but it was her left hand was just hovering over the top of the hold. Yeah, we don't really like to see this. It really not ideal route setting, I have to say. The rules are the rules, though. She has to hover. Oh, I wonder if she's going back.
Laura Stuckler's disappeared off the stage. I'm wondering if the judges have given it to her. I have to say my initial reaction was that she hadn't correctly matched the hold. Hopefully we'll see a replay. We'll confirm when we hear more, but it's a strange one to me. We do have some top outs that aren't immensely clear, but that one does seem very clear to me.
Yeah, it was a left hand that was the issue. She just slapped it on top of the volume. Maybe you could argue there's any form of skin contact would do with the left hand. If it was just the palm or the wrist, something just to show control would have been enough. Let's have another look then. She read the move perfectly, pounced up exactly what she needed to do. Let's have another look. What happened on that top move?
So she was preparing to launch it. She went with the right hand first.
Oh, you'd have to say there's a bit of skin contact maybe there on the...
Yeah, I think that, I can't help wondering if that might be a bit of luck there for Laura Stuckler. If she did match it, I'm not entirely sure she meant to, because it looked to me that she was going onto the volume, but just about gets away with it. I have to say, I think she has slightly got away with it, slightly lucky there, but if she has matched it, then she deserves a top, but I'm not entirely sure she meant it.
Yeah, I would say overall, to be fair, that she, she did the move. It wasn't as if she wasn't strong enough to match the hold. She was so close to matching it anyway that, the rules are the rules, like you say, but it's hard to know exactly if she had it. It was only when she actually removed the left hand you could see her right thumb was covering a section of the hold.
Kai Leitner, 40 seconds left for him. Yeah, Laura Stuckler, as you say, Mike, it's a good point you make, and it's why people sometimes get annoyed with strange top outs. She basically did the move, so she deserves it. But as I say, I think a bit like we saw with Margot Hayes, she might not have known exactly where that finish hold was.
Kai Leitner not being able to repeat his feat on his first go. Managed to use all of his power on his first go to get that hold statically that he's heading up for. Now not being able to repeat it, not being able to keep his foot on through. in the end, he seems to have used a lot of his power. He's having another go, but realistically, he's not got enough time. He's possibly not even secured the bonus, actually. We have to see, because he didn't go to the bonus initially. He was looking to flip it when he actually slipped off. He was looking to turn that left hand around.
Yannick Flowey, semi-finalist in the Senior World Cup in Munich just over 2 weeks ago, is absolutely in control here in the bouldering final. He walked out, flashed the boulder, and it looked as if the route setters might have slightly undercooked it. Well, it's proved to be anything but the case. Laura Stuckley, you see her there, topped the first boulder and flashed it. Francisca Stera next out onto the stage in the women's competition, and Yoshiyuki Ogata will be next out in the men's competition. But as I say, Yannick Flowey flashed a boulder, made it look easy. He was first out, and you always think then, okay, well, everyone's going to do this one, but it has not proved to be the case. Yoshiyuki Ogata out now. And an abortive attempt for him. Seemed to bang against that arete, just got his position wrong. That's more like it. Looked slightly clumsy first effort.
Yoshiyuki Ogata showing incredible strength, incredible contact strength on the left hand. Reduces the swing by palming down on the right hand side. Then Yoshiyuki Ogata took away the win in the leading earlier on last night. No rest for the wicked for these guys. Moves into that top section. It could be an early easy top here for Yoshiyuki, once again showing his strength, showing his dominance. Looks at the camera directly down the lens. Yoshiyuki Ogata had it topped after only a minute burn. Made it look easy.
Yeah, completely untroubled by that boulder. He's left something behind. I'm just trying to have a look. Oh, it's just something being clarified with the judge. Whatever it was a minor point. He's back into the isolation zone behind the wall.
See that start position demonstrated really well there. Jumped up to the volume, the feet came off, but then she put them back down to find the correct starting position. Opting to try and go low here for a second, but looking like she's having a rethink, going back up right. But we've seen the method seems to be get that left foot wiggled across. It's a little bit further left she needs it, and just find the perfect balance point. Really have to relax through here.
Creeping her way leftwards. And there is a perfect illustration of how tenuous it is.
Yeah, I think it's crucial, the placement of the left foot. It needs to be as far left as possible, but without heading into the more sloping part of the hole. Just place it and really put the weight through the toes. Keep the heels down, which is maximum rubber contact with the volume. She does well there to give the volume a good brush, because there will be a big chalk build up on the mats already.
Now she's back on. 1 minute 45 left on the clock for her. This boulder has been topped already by Laura Stuckler. That was a flash, got it first time, and Margot Hayes, who got it third time, should have got it second, but there was some confusion about exactly where the top hold was.
Gets the left hand but doesn't have the right foot on at the moment. This is going to be interesting to see if she can control it. She finds herself in a comfortable position, but needs to move the feet together and shuffle out to the left again. Her weight is all over on the right hand side at the moment. The centre of mass is completely over the right leg. She needs to get the centre of the mass over on the left leg to be able to match with the right foot in. Bump that left foot up to the arete. It's not over at that point either. 1 minute left then.
Out last in the men's competition it will be Meichi Narasaki. Yulia Pantelieva will be out last in the women's comp.
Easily out to the left hand side, but seems to be having the same issue here. Left foot was slightly further left there, but same problem occurs once again. 40 seconds left then. Will it be enough? See her feet sliding already on that first volume. Needs to come up with some magic here if she's going to find the top.
She's got 30 seconds left to find that top. She's latched the bonus, not for the first time. It's just a case of finding the method to launch for the top. 20 seconds to go. Will she have another go? It is a time-consuming boulder. I think she will have another go. It'll have to be a rushed one though. These moves slow and steady, but she hasn't really got time for that now. Needs to get in position, make a quick choice between the old method and finding a new one. She's going for the old method.
We saw how quickly Margot Hayes managed to climb this problem in the end. Countdown clock, you can hear it properly in the background. Counts down from 5 down to 0. Not meant to be.
So one climber left on the first boulders.
The speed finals. Yulia Pantelieva, Russia.
Yulia Pantelieva then comes out. She is ranked first after the speed. What can she do on the bouldering? You can have a look. It's Yannick Floey who actually came out first, was last in the speed. And Laura Stockler also ranked first with one top in one attempt.
So there is Meiji Narasaki, another very tall climber in this junior bouldering combined. And Yulia Pantelieva as well of Russia.
Right, Narasaki's had great results in the senior in the bouldering as well. Made the podium in Vale earlier on in the summer. Right, Narasaki easily up with keeping the left foot on at the same time. There doesn't need to do the dynamic move. Has a look out to the left, decides to flip early. That's where Kai Leitner came unstuck. Meiji Narasaki pushing towards the top here. No problem at all. Gets one hand, just needs to find a body position to get two.
There it is, Meiji Narasaki, top for him, 3 minutes to spare. Job done.
Yulia Pantelieva then. Oh, no hands in that section. No, she's obviously found herself in a very comfortable position. It's moving out the position that's the problem. See the feet creeping. She's got her right foot really far left. There's excellent position to be in. This is looking really good for the climber who came through first after the speed. Yulia Pantelieva then firing up to the finish hold. Gets the volume with one hand. Has she got the power in the arms to shuffle across? No such route reading issues for her. That was an awesome performance on the slab. Women's one is concluded. Yulia Pantelieva, pretty sure that was a flash. Double check the scores.
Yeah, superb start from her. She was top in the speed climbing. She will go joint top in the bouldering. The way the Olympic ranking works is that your score from each discipline is your position from that discipline. So if you're first in the speed climbing, your score is 1. If you're first in the bouldering, your score is 1 from the bouldering. And your 3 scores from the 3 disciplines are then multiplied to give you a total. Now, of course, you might well have noticed that that does create the possibility for potential ties. The rule designers, have thought of all that. We do have methods to separate climbers. We'd like to see a clean win, though. Always much more satisfying. For now, let's just focus one thing at a time. Boulder 2.
Claire Beaufine pulls on then into this, what did Jorg describe it as? Paper aeroplanes?
The paper planes.
We've heard some good names over the years from the route setters.
That's a cracking line.
Jackie Godoff's chips in Paris look absolutely nothing like a bag of chips. There we go. All eyes on Claire at the moment then. This looks a super hard, super powerful problem. Big set of cheetah volumes. Nicely done now from Claire. She's out to redeem herself after the speed. Struggled on the first boulder as well and fires off. Big dismount for Claire.
That looks the kind of move it's easy to injure yourself on. Tendons in both hands. Be wincing after that one.
Just rubs her ankle a little bit as she hits the ground. Let's have a look. Yannick Floey then out on the mat still, which means he hasn't flashed it like he did on the first one. Barely caught a glimpse of him on the first boulder. He was up there so fast. Super powerful start to this men's number 2 then. Big barn door move. Really manages to shut down that barn door with a really clever use of the left heel. That was good. Some quite unfamiliar holds now into this next section. The climbers wouldn't have seen these before. A pair of terrible slopers trying to sort of wrap them like a pair of volumes. See the right heel digging in there. If he manages to get a little toe lock on the roof, that would be good for him, but opts to bump across to the left hand.
Superb power to be able to drop back down like that. He's trying to think of a new method now. He's coming around the corner. There we can see it. They look like Fatak volumes to me. One of our route setters, Fatak from Iran, brought some volumes over with him. They look like a couple of his.
What's good about some of the route setters bringing volumes from their own countries, especially countries that aren't that familiar to the climbers, is that this is an on-site experience for a lot of the climbers on those holds.
Yeah, if you've ever seen any of the footage emerging or been yourself to one of the Tokyo B-Pump gyms, you'll know that Team Japan have got access to just about every volume and hold you've ever seen, but I doubt they've got any Fataks.
Oh, Claire firing off once again. You do wonder if that's a skin issue for Claire. She's obviously done really well, done the double this week already in the World Youth Championships, taking away the gold in the lead and the boulder. The skin of these athletes must be so crucial to get through, coming into a third competition of the week, probably fourth competition actually. She's done lead speed and boulder already. Now she's into lead speed and boulder en route onto the Olympics, excuse me. Sorry, it's been a slightly long day. Just under a minute left then. Yannick Fleury back up to the high point where he was before. Can he find a method to hit the top? Hits the bottom of that volume. Just trying to have a look where that finish tape is. We don't want to see any similar issues. The finish tape on that one is on the top of the two triangles.
Claire just trying to reattain that high point from earlier on when she took the very awkward looking fall. No. Looks slightly frustrated. 2 gold medals earlier in the week in the Youth World Championship should ease the pain if she isn't happy with her performance tonight. Yannick Fleury, meanwhile, alone on the stage in Innsbruck. 20 seconds to go for him to find the top. Again, demonstrating his power, and again, extraordinary Gaston move. That's the top hole he's heading for. You can see it marked there. Touches it with the left hand, he doesn't touch it with the right. No top for him.
Yeah, we'll see if the next climber out gets to that high point. It's going to be Will Bosey, but that move, way of describing how serious that move is on the shoulder is. If you ever go, next time you go to an elevator, try and open the doors when they're closed. We call that the elevator door move in route setting. The way it positions the shoulders is absolutely savage. Just force going through them in an unconventional manner where you have to pull apart the elevator doors. Will Bosey then did really well on the first boulder. Put himself in a good position. He was sitting in third position, I think it was, going into this second boulder. One top in 2 attempts on the first block. Now he moves on to the second, and it's Margot Hayes after that cracking top. Women's number 2, she topped it once. Well, came on to the top volume, but didn't get the official top. Jumped straight back on and got it done. Showed true grit on that first boulder. She's really keen for this overall Olympic medal here, Margot Hayes. William Bosey then opting to bring out some sort of towel to keep the boots dry and keep them clean. Rain has stopped here at Innsbruck, so we're in great conditions for climbing, quite cold.
Yeah, 2 9A climbers out on the stage, a 9A plus climber in the case of Margot Hayes on outdoor sport climbs, so with the lead still to come. Both of these climbers will be licking their lips, doubly so if they can put themselves in a strong position here. Margot Hayes got the first boulder done after some confusion, third go.
So powerful, this women's climb. As you can see, Will Bosey's also high up on the wall. He's looking comfortable at the moment. Margot Hayes secures the bonus hold.
Look at that, teeth gritted from Margot Hayes. Lands the left hand. This is where Claire Burfine fell from. Such an awkward few moves, but she is nearing the top, and she has a right hand on the top but not the left. Will Bosey, meanwhile, small screen, bottom right, there he is. Vest almost coming off. Like the Incredible Hulk, his vest ripping clean off him. Trying to find a way onto those 2 volumes.
That sort of move when you're going from a really good jug up to 2 really poor holds. It's so hard to release the weight out of the roof without peeling straight off the wall. Let's have another look at Margot on the top of the wall from a different angle. Agonisingly close to the top here. Hits it. It's a really terrible finish hold as well. I think she needs to hit that with the wrap on top of that volume. Just came up short on the bottom right of it. I'm sure she'll run the clock right down now and have a really good second burn. Will Bosey just slump at the shoulders slightly, not 100% sure what to do up there. Also a pair of terrible slopers. Really shouldery second boulders here. This is what we want to see though. We want to see the climbers challenged on hard boulders. That's what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, and we saw earlier on extraordinary amount of tops in the male Youth B bouldering combined. We had 4 tops from all 6 climbers. We don't want that again. Jorg Verhoeven, who we had on earlier, just explaining that they've made the boulders a bit harder this time around.
Well, what's going to be interesting about this, Charlie, is how it's going to affect the leading. Route setters in the lead have got the hardest job possible. That's the final discipline. Not only have they got to get the level right before the competition, but the competition and the competitors could be affected by tiredness going through the competition. Skin could be affected as well. If these boulders are really skin intensive, a lot of dragging on the holes, big volumes, skin could get really deteriorated going into the lead final. So lead route setter's got a really hard job. Let's focus on Will Bosey then on this top section. Seems to operating a bit of a knee scum in the roof there. You can see the blood on his left knee there, and he's putting his body on the line here, fighting this section, trying to get out of the roof. Absolutely unfathomably bad, those top two green holds. Be really surprised.
Well,
see someone pushing
really
easily
not
through them.
Keen to burn any extra attempts here.
Bosey's got himself up this time then. He's digging in. The local support is immense for him. Got completely up high. Turns around, says, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing up there. Takes one look at the route set. I think, not sure. We'll see. A lot of strong climbers still to come. Will Bosey only the second climber out on those holds. See the amount of chalk build up there. One of the local volunteers just brushing off that excess chalk.
She got a first in that on the boulders in the first round. And there is Kai Harada searching to solve the problem.
Kai Harada out next then. Aika Tajima also joins the competition. Surprised not to see a top there from Margaret Hayes. These boulders are obviously super difficult, and Claire Burfine also didn't see a top. She won the overall bouldering earlier on in the week, so is it a really hard boulder or is it fatigue? Time's going to tell over the next 4 athletes. Kai Harada having no such issues on these 2 green elevator holds. Eyeing up the top hold already, trying to find something for the left, but there isn't really anything. Oh, just fires up for the top left hand. Kai Harada.
That was extraordinary from Kai Harada. Interestingly enough, one of only 2 climbers who didn't get the first boulder done. The other one being the other Kai Leitner. Neither of them got that first boulder done, but what a statement that is from Kai Harada. Flashes the second one that Will Bosey and Yannick Flowey made good progress on. It never quite looked like topping it. He's walked out, there's 3 minutes left on the clock, and we're watching a replay of him. He's back in isolation.
His feet basically did absolutely nothing on that move. He just didn't need them. He's obviously not enjoying the slabs here. As soon as he gets into a couple of power moves, leaves the feet behind and smashes it. Absolutely brilliant from Kai Harada.
Oh, the legs were just dead weight there. Could have done without them, to be honest, because it was extraordinary power required.
Yeah, that's a real stark contrast there. Will Bosey walks off with his arms in the air, asking the question to the route setters, what did you expect me to do with those things up there? Kai Harada knew exactly what to do. Just crushed them between his palms and campus to the top.
So Aika Tajima pulls onto the women's route, just over half her time remaining. The paper plane boulder, as Jorg Verhoeven described it, and again she just peels off.
This bottom section seems to be really tricky to read for the female athletes. We saw Margot Hayes having success by getting the left hand undercut on the left hand volume with the right hand. I'm sure we'll be looking for the athletes to get that method to head further up and left, but super hard second boulder here in the women's category.
Amazing to see just how hard Margot Hayes was fighting on that upper section. She had gritted teeth.
This is the method that Margot employed then, matching on the undercut on the left. See how bad that hold is under there, the fingers bowing under the crimp of that volume. Tajima not happy up there. Not finding the right method at the moment.
Again, comes back for another look, 1 minute 20 on the clock. Pink Panther, which seems to have been doing the rounds this week in Innsbruck, once again ringing out. And I'm very pleased to say that the brief shower of rain that we had does seem to have been a brief shower. It hasn't set in. Mountains still visible behind us. In the right spot. Maybe that's Northern English optimism coming through. Aika Tajima onto the wall. The paper plane's not made much of a dent in this boulder so far.
Briefly looked for a fist jam between the 2 volumes there. Good thinking.
The sky blue
out here to find a top. Looks for a different method to try and get that right hand on the left hand side of those 2 volumes. Gonna time out here, unfortunately. Aika Tajima then walks off the stage. No tops for her so far in this campaign in the bouldering.
Mike and I talked about this earlier on. Be interested to see how climbers conserve energy, because often, normally in a bouldering final, your skin might be wrecked, you're tired from the qualifiers and the semi-finals. But you know that this is it, and especially on the 3rd and 4th boulder, you might as well just give them absolutely everything, completely empty the tank But in this combined category, remember, these climbers only have a relatively short break, and then they'll be on the lead wall. And it'll be interesting to see if climbers begin to call it quite early, maybe with a minute of their time left, where we see someone decide they just don't like a boulder, and that there's no point wasting any more skin and energy on it. Time will tell, but the combined format certainly adds a huge element, both physically and psychologically, changes the decision-making process slightly. Laura Stuckler had a fantastic start to this final. Flashed the first boulder and is now out onto the stage attempting the second one. Kai Leitner looked like he was going to get the first one done in short order, but actually couldn't do it. You can see the advantage of his height. He's not having to lunge for those volumes at all.
I think this next section could be difficult for the taller climber. We saw Will Bosey struggling a little bit. Nice little hand swap there from Kai. He's obviously feeling confident. Just sags back on the one-handed hold. Goes into that top section, but he's got the left hand really badly. The feet are just dangling now. Now he finds a bit of action on the left foot. Fires up. That was good. He managed to go off the left foot. Kai Leitner finds a quick top. Kai Leitner's back in the game.
So solid, Kai, there. When that left hand landed, it was like it was clamped in a vice, that top hold. Closed his hand, and that was it. Game over.
Yeah, the left hand on the hole before was really interesting as well. He hit it sort of quite skewed, but manages to kind of adjust it and get it right. Laura Stuckler then after that debated top on women's number one.
It's such a brutal boulder, this. See now. Heading up towards the high point of Claire Burfind, Margot Hayes.
150 on the clock.
Oh, just comes short of the bonus there. She'll probably take a little bit of rest, but she's not got that much time remaining.
On 30 to go. As I say, flew out of the blocks. Women's bouldering. Flash. First boulder. She needs to compose herself. Sitting in a pretty good position. Third in the speed climbing. And again, popping off backwards. This looks like the kind of boulder where you could blow a finger. Looks a hard one on the pulleys. She's back on again, 45 seconds to go.
Interesting, she's trying to go directly up with the right hand, ignoring the volume on the right hand side, but that means that she's really low. She's desperately trying to go into an undercut. Coming from really low, that is going to make it so powerful. Again, looks like she made time out here. Now she has a look at a different option. Goes up with the right hand into the left hand, but just tries to fire up directly. That seems to work, but she needs to bump the right hand in now. Finds it with 20 seconds left. Maybe she can secure herself a bonus here if she hasn't done already. Gets a good wrap on that left volume. It's the correct sequence. Just comes up short on the bonus.
So no joy for Laura Stuckler, and no joy as yet on this second women's boulder. Men's, meanwhile, Kai Harada and Kai Leitner both got it first time. Interestingly, the only two climbers didn't get the first boulder done. So there's a classic example of different styles of boulders suiting different climbers. Here is Yoshiyuki Ogata. Franziska Sterrer in the women's competition. Second Austrian in a row out here. Starting order in the bouldering being decided by the speed climbing results, a reverse of the speed climbing results. So if you are top in the speed climbing, you climb 6th in the bouldering.
Yoshiyuki then, if he finds a top here, will be the first climber to have two tops on the board. Maichi Narasaki still to come out. So Yannick Floe is leaving the way at the moment for Germany. Flash of one boulder. 2 bonuses in 4 attempts. Yoshiyuki Ogata then not quite finding that left toe drag just to slow down that barn door move.
Yoshiyuki, surely the favourite here to win this competition. Got off to a decent start in the speed climbing, second there.
We saw Yoshiyuki in the roots yesterday, never really finding the perfect sequence on every move, but being overly strong and overly confident, manages to win the competition anyway. A bit of route reading is causing him some troubles here. Franziska has a look at the bonus then. Oh yes, big set of moves up there, great power. Hits it, but doesn't hit it very well on the right hand. That was a good bird from her. Now Yoshiyuki's trying to find something for the left foot. He's starting to concentrate on the left foot, starting to drag it a little bit across that starting volume. See what he can do with this next attempt. Yoshiyuki starting to get a bit nervous here.
Yeah, he really needs this one. He won in the Youth World Championships last week in Innsbruck at this same venue. He won the bouldering and he won the lead. He did the double.
I think he's one of those climbers who seems to be so full of energy all the time. Sometimes he might find it hard to slow down and just concentrate on exactly what's going wrong. Normally it's just so strong, he doesn't need to concentrate on the method, but with a trick move like this,
he's really burning through the attempts here. I was just saying he won the boulder, won the lead, and on the first discipline of the combined event, the speed, he was second, so that was ominous. I think most of his competitors were hoping they might get a bit of a worse result out of him in the speed to at least give them a sniff, but he's giving them a sniff here. He's not cruising this boulder by any means.
Again, looking for options for the left foot, but not finding it. It doesn't seem to be slowing it down. Franziska has another burn, but this takes so much power of you out of you. This women's number 2. Completely lost count of number of attempts from Yoshiyuki now.
Oh, he's really burning through them. I think given the fact that nobody has managed to top both boulders in the first 2, although Meiichi Narasaki's still to come, Yoshiyuki Ogata's probably making the calculation. I'm assuming he's taking a look across at the big screen and knows the score, probably taking the calculation that just getting a top is key. Don't worry too much about the attempts, just get it done.
He did that bottom move in a really powerful fashion in the end, but now has a look at the top move, comes up to the bottom of that volume, needs to get into the higher section, gets it now, gets a good wrap. Yoshiyuki Ogata burnt a hell of a lot of attempts, but finds the top in the end, and that's what crucial. Most important thing is obviously tops. See him looking at his skin there. Not surprised he's burnt through a lot of that. Twisting his nails off the ends of his fingertips as well. Really put his body on the line. Manages to find a top though. Gets a nod from the judge.
Yeah, Yoshiyuki Ogata is back into isolation. And having seemingly not been able to make anything of a dent on that boulder, suddenly tops it. And I can confirm that was his 11th attempt. Also his 11th attempt on the boulder. So once he latched those volumes underneath the roof, he was cruising from there. So that's what I was talking about. Meiichi Narasaki could join him, but Yoshiyuki Ogata may well have looked at the scoreboard and thought, well, if I can top this, I'm the only person with 2 tops, so much as I'd like not to use too many attempts, I'd rather burn a load of attempts and get to the top than not top it at all.
Yeah, Meiichi burns an attempt straight away, but if it comes down to an attempt, it's really going to hurt Yoshiyuki later on. So difficult with that type of move, really off balance. If you don't quite find the perfect body position, can't do the move, and in the end the top section was easy for him. Quite the opposite of the way we saw Kai Leitner, Will Bosey. They found the bottom section easy but couldn't get the top. Kai Leitner secured it in the end pretty quickly, but yeah, quite interesting this boulder.
Yulia Pantelieva, who's, let's not forget, in terms of a combined ranking, is leading coming into the bouldering, having won in the speed climbing competition.
Climbed so well on the first boulder, really did well on the slabs. Obviously Meiichi Narasaki then camping through this top section. He's one of the bigger climbers, so he may be able to use a left foot. Doesn't bother. Again, the Japanese athlete campuses the top section. Really incredible show here from Meiichi Narasaki. Surely he is the favourite going into the last couple of boulders. 2 tops in 3 attempts. It was 2 tops in the end from him after a very early slip. Could have flashed it if he hadn't just wibbled off the first move. Managed to completely hold the barn door. Great slow motion replay there. Completely opens up to the crowd. and this top move. Had a quick look as Kai Leitner did on the left foot. Kai used the bottom left foot, you can see there, but Maichi Narusaki, no such footholds required. Campuses the top section off those two wrapped green holds.
So in the men's competition, that puts Maichi Narusaki in the lead, 2 tops for him. Only 3 attempts required to get them. Yoshiyuki Ogata, 2 tops for him, 13 attempts to get them. Interesting to watch him. He was just seemingly banging his head against the wall with that lower move, but he obviously felt he could do it, and he was proved right. Unfortunately, it has just started raining here in Innsbruck. Yulia Pantsaliva, who flashed the first boulder. One of only 3 climbers who got that first boulder, and none of them have got this second one, the paper planes, as Jörg de Hoden described them. If she can top this, she puts herself in an extraordinarily strong position. She'll have 2 tops, and there'll only be 2 other climbers with 1. 1 minute 30 left for her to find a top. She hasn't made progress deep into the boulder just yet.
This is where this type of scoring system makes it look so harsh. Marga Hayes, only climber to have the finish hold in her hand, isn't awarded anything more than a bonus. That's the harshness, but also the beauty of this system.
Now she's down to a minute. It's getting tense now. Pulls back on, looking to put herself in a fantastic position, and I think, no, doesn't like that boulder at all, heads back in, 40 seconds left on the clock, chooses not to use it, and this is what we were talking about. This is what we were talking about. Climbers may opt to save a bit of energy for the remaining boulders and the lead route, but Yulia Pantsaliva still leads away, tied up there with Laura Stockler. And you see there, Maichi Narusaki, 2 tops and 3 attempts. Yoshiyuki Ogata has burned 10 more attempts, not 10 times more attempts. Didn't take 30, but he took 13. Yannick Floe hanging on with them. Every climber in the men's competition has a top.
Yeah, I think that's wise climbing there from the Russian Yulia Pantsaliva. She knows she's in a good position, probably knows that that boulder hasn't been topped by anybody else. So goes back, tries to save some energy, save some skin. The competition continues. Claire Burfing then.
Yeah, just as people probably thinking at home, is Charlie mad? No one's going to walk in with 40 seconds left on the clock, but yeah, Yulia Pantsaliva clearly thinking about the long game. She won the speed climbing, she's in a good position in the bouldering, and the lead climbing still to come. No point banging your head against the wall trying to do a move you're struggling with.
Looks like we've got a pair of jumps here then for the next set of boulders. Boulders free. The winner of the lead and the bouldering then, Claire from USA, has a look at the double catch on the 2 red volumes. Should be able to push across to the left hand side on the green volume and then jump to the 2 red as we have a look. It's Yannick Floe after his great top on the first boulder. Another good move here employed by the route setters. Good thinking as well from Yannick Floe there, managing to miss out an initial foot move. It's a really interesting move actually, it's a really low jump. As we have a look back, Claire Burfine then. Jörg Verhoeven saying you have to kind of sit on one of these volumes now. I think it's more of just a mantle off to the right hand side. That's it, just tucks right into the top. Claire Burfine's back on form, finds a really easy top. 3 attempts I think that was, walks off the stage, a bit more of a smile on her face now after a disappointing speed competition and disappointing couple of boulders. Let's have another look at that jump. Great power, contact strength on the right hand. The left hand is almost an undercut, so it doesn't do too much for you on that move apart from slow down the swing.
Yeah, she needed that to get back in the game, Claire Burfine.
Puts her into current standing of 3rd position with 1 top in 3 attempts. Missing out on the first boulder. 3 bonuses and 7 though for her, so she's looking good on bonuses at the moment as we concentrate with 1 minute 50 left. It's Yannick Floe, big jump out, still not quite finding the method. There's a jug that he's going to there, but it's sort of more of a pocketed jug, so it makes it quite hard to land the sweet spot. But it's not a simple grab and go move though, the right foot has to land on the volumes at the same time as well.
He looked a bit unimpressed, Yannick Floe. First had a go at this boulder as if he didn't really fancy his chances of getting it done. It's a good hole he's jumping to on the right, and the crowd enjoyed that one.
does it well, ends up going for the double. Has a look at the bonus hold then. The route setters have put on a little jib next to it to act as a thumb catch. Generally means he's got to do a hard shoulder move out, but ignores it. Just crimping that hole is not going to help on that rotation though. The crimp may have felt a bit better for him, especially in the youth climbers. They like to get the full crimp on. But a move like that, when the body swings out, the thumb could be absolutely critical. The thumb will just be enough to hold him in. Let's see if he gets to that position again, whether he employs the thumb catch or sticks with the crimp. Has options for the feet there as well. Goes for the double again. Nearly pings straight off the stage and lands in the photographer's booth.
He's got to be careful actually. The railing of the scaffolding tower for the photographer's perilously close there. Could clatter it coming across at that speed, and again another climber opting not to have another go.
Yannick Fleury secures the bonus but couldn't get much more than that. Also got a lot of attempts to get to that bonus, so won't be the best result for him on the third boulders.
7 attempts to get that bonus just come through. So Margot Hayes.
Margot Hayes will be out next, desperately close to boulder number 2. Really disappointed she couldn't stick that final hold, and Will Bosey, who walked with his head in his hands after the second boulder, completely perplexed by the top of that other one.
Margot Hayes didn't even look at the boulder or the conditions, just before she'd even had a 4-minute start, went and grabbed the brush ready to get going. She's giving it a good old clean. Obviously something that she identified in observation, that she wants these holes to be as good as possible as she launches onto them right to left.
Seems to me Margot Hayes looks really up for this competition here. She's really gunning for the win, and she seems to just be focused, sharper than everybody else up to this stage. Margot Hayes then takes the left hand, now has got to spring into the double. He's opting to go from quite a low position there, quite a lot of speed going into that right hand side. Will Bosey catches the jug with the right hand, but see him rubbing his hand there, caught it really awkwardly.
Hard set of boulders today. Had basically the boulders were too easy in the youth B, particularly in the men. There's no getting around that. Certainly not something you could accuse the route setters of this time. Margot Hayes struggling to get to grips with that. She's got a slightly different read on it. Let's have a look at Will Bosey over on the far right of the Innsbruck stage.
Interesting, the climbers are opting not to use that far low left hold. I think the route setters intended that to be a bit of a drag for the toe before jumping out. Oh, Will Bosey lands it with the one hand this time. Saw Yannick Fleury ending up catching it with 2. Will Bosey just blows off the chalk. He's so happy on that jug. Has a look at the thumb catch then. Is he just going to pounce up as Margot Hayes pounces into the double jump? Will Bosey just fires off. Terrible slope he's going up to. So hard to control the swing on that. Margot Hayes is looking really good now for a potential top. We saw Claire Burfiend up here. Margot Hayes pushes into the top. Nicely done, Margot Hayes. She'll be very happy with that. Like I said, looking extremely determined here this weekend.
Mike, you're absolutely spot on. She's got her game face on, that is for sure. Will Bosey, meanwhile, saw him on his previous attempt. He came down, tapped both his temples as if to say, come on, focus. And that is pretty much as close as you can come to falling off a boulder problem and still being on it from Margot Hayes. That right hand, sheer determination kept that in place.
Almost got the head jam in there just for extra comfort, just to guarantee that she wasn't going to come off that undercut finish hold. Rain and wind blowing across now, unfortunately. The roots and the boulders are dry. The wind blowing from behind the wall, so no such issue. It's Will Bosey now, goes for the triple catch on the next set of volumes. You're never short of thinking what Will Bosey's up to. Slaps his head once again. Will Bosey putting on a good show here for the crowd. None of them sheltering in the centre, luckily. Sticking it out for now.
Yeah, hopefully this rain won't get any heavier. Right now it's very gentle, but looking slightly ominous, I have to say. It was looking worse 5 or 6 hours ago than it is now, so hopefully it'll stay at least semi-dry. No sign of too many umbrellas in the crowd just yet. Not really raining.
Bosey on for another look then with 45 seconds left, starting to tire, starting to hurt his skin on that right hand jug. He has to remember he has the route still to come. Kind of get the feeling that throughout the competition here at the Olympic Combined, climbers haven't focused that much on the next discipline. They're just focusing on this discipline.
I think actually that's something that we're just starting to see now in this junior category. They're much older than the youth Bs who we saw earlier, And I think these climbers are taking a bit of a longer view of it than we saw from the Youth B. Youth B just seem to hurl themselves at every move, every boulder, everything. These junior climbers seemingly taking a little more measured approach. Will Bosey a bit frustrated with himself there.
Yeah, Will Bosey not finding the method that worked for him. Was opted for the 1-2-3 on those next volumes. Let's see in front of the lights there, the rain coming down. It's quite heavy now. Yeah, Will Bosey walks off. No top once again for him. Margaret Hayes leading the way at the moment then in the women's. 2 tops in 6 attempts, followed by Yulia Pantelieva from Russia. Aiko Tajima and Kai Harada then. Kai Harada put on an excellent performance on the previous boulder, camping the top section where other climbers struggled. Aiko Tajima unfortunately sitting down in last position, 6th at the moment. No tops, just the 1 bonus. Quick look at the jump to start with then, didn't hit it with too much conviction.
No, as you didn't quite seem convinced by that move. Kai Harada onto men's 1, first of the 2 Kais in a row. Leitner will be out next. This time she makes it stick.
Aiko Tajima does really well there, really more known as a lead climber, but does well on that jump. As you can see, Kai Harada on the bottom side of the screen uses the left foot. That's what we expected on that move. Has the thumb catch on the right hand on the bonus. It's going to be a potential top. Oh, a hell of a move on the bottom right of the screen. Too much to watch at once here. Kai Harada fires up to the finish hold. Oh my days, that was an incredible show of performance, power I should say, through that section. He manages to stick the top volume with one hand, the body completely rotated, brought it back round. I'd love to see that again. That was absolutely staggering.
Fantastic power. Initially when he went up with that left hand and the feet swung out, it looked to me as if he was showboating to the crowd, but actually I think he just relaxed his body because any sort of tension would have pulled him clean off the hold. He's just relaxing so that his body swung back into the wall as fast as possible.
I'm sure we get an opportunity to have another look at that, but at the moment we'll focus on Tajima as she gets close to this top section. She's already been up here once, somehow managed to slip off on this next section.
Let's go.
So he just needs to reach up, press underneath that big volume. You'd have thought she couldn't miss from here, and she can't. Gets the top, 2 minutes to spare in that rotation. Let's have a look again at Kai Harada flying through that upper section. This is where I mean.
He went again with the left hand, the right hand and all of the feet blew off. Somehow he managed to hold it. That was one of the moments of the competition so far today. And then just goes for the showboat, 1 arm lock off to finish.
Yeah, I thought he was showboating the move before. He was finishing on the he was showboating on the finish hold. Do excuse me, Mike Langley and I've been in the commentary box a wee while today, so if there are 1 or 2 grammatical errors, you will excuse us. Kai Leitner there on the right, Laura Struckler on the left.
Kai Leitner then currently sitting in 5th position, but is still yet to attempt this third boulder. 1 top in 2 attempts. Nothing for him on the first, but a flash on the second.
Laura Struckler doesn't look too far off that move. Let's have another look again. Just wondering if there's something she didn't quite pick up. Kai Leitner, meanwhile, is back onto men's 3. There he is. Heading up to the bonus, or is he going to skip the bonus out? No, surely he can't. He can't. Okay, he takes it this time.
Kai Leitner goes for the high foot. Doesn't need the bottom right foot hold at all. This is looking really impressive once again for Kai Leitner. He seems to have found his party piece here. Moves up so easily, so statically. Made it look like a warm-up. Kai Leitner. You know, it's definitely swings and roundabouts when it comes to height, but that seems to have helped him a little bit there. Can't take anything away from him though. Incredibly bad holds he was going off.
Not had many tops in this bouldering event, certainly compared to what we saw in Youth B, but suddenly they're coming thick and fast. Is Laura Struckler about to get another top?
Laura Struckler then opting to, she was trying to go off the hill, so it meant she couldn't really tuck in on that right hand side to move the left hand. Looks like she's going to try and go up with the left now. Just needs to put some weight through that right foot. She's obviously not very happy on it. pushes hard up now. This is looking better. Hopefully she'll find a top. Still fighting hard. Gets it done in the end. Big smile. Austria crowd enjoyed that one.
Certainly did, and she is putting herself in an amazing position. That'll be her in first place in the bouldering. She was third in the speed.
Yeah, 2 tops in 3 attempts. You can see it there. Margot Hayes just behind, 2 tops in 6. And Margot Hayes, we're saying that she's out to win, who's got a lot to do. Kai Leitner puts himself into fantastic position. 2 climbers still to come out on this 3rd boulder.
Yoshiyuki Ogata is one of them. He won the lead and the boulder in this age category in the Youth World Championships just last week here in Innsbruck. Absolutely a contender here, if not the strong favourite. 2nd in the speed climbing. Very good start for him, but Kai Leitner, who's currently leading the way in the bouldering, is only just behind him in the speed. Francisca Sterra pulls on and nails the jump. Big stability in the shoulder.
Nails the jump first time. This is really impressive. Showing her power. Sits straight into that position on the right foot. Opts for a left heel hook. Thinks she's going to need to move out there. She doesn't. Oh, that was insane. 40 seconds after starting the clock. She's packed up and walked off.
Fifth top of that women's number 3 and the first flash. Everyone else required at least 2 attempts to get it. Francisca Sterra makes it. Austria 1 and 3 in the current bouldering standards. The crowd will be loving that. Yoshiyuki Ogata is now on with 3 minutes to go on men's 3.
Interestingly, he opts to use that left toe hook. With a slow death there off that move. I thought he had it for a moment, but the right leg just collapsed off of from underneath him. Yeah, saying Yoshiyuki opting to use the left foot starting position. We've not seen many of the athletes need that. Seems to like it though. Now he releases it and goes for this next move.
That's how you do it.
Classic move, good release and a bit of a rotation there, but manages to stop it. Just takes 1 eye on the clock. Loads of time left now. We've seen success with this left foot method. That's it. Has the pinch nicely at the bonus hold. Kai Harada then bumped up again and lost his feet. What's Yoshiyuki going to do? Moves up nicely with 1 hand, moves up 2 hands. This is looking really positive now. Joins Kai Leitner. And Kai Harada with a top. Nearly lost my whereabouts as who's topped that boulder. Really enjoying this junior bouldering final here in the Olympic combined competition. Then great moves throughout the competition so far, mixed results. Real challenge for the climbers. This is what we wanted to see.
Well, it wouldn't be Innsbruck without Tom Petty's free falling coming around the venue. I think I'll be humming that one in my sleep, to be honest, next week. Meiji Narasaki makes his way out onto the mats. Yulia Pantelieva also out. Yoshiyuki Ogata then 3 tops for him, but wait for it, 17 attempts. Took 4 on that one, 11 on the one before, and 2 on the first boulder. Meiji Narasaki, his only slip up so far has been taking 2 attempts on boulder 2. He's got 2 tops and he required 3 attempts.
If Yulia Pantelieva can find a top here though, and if she does it quickly especially, she'll put herself straight into a podium position with 1 boulder still to go. It's 1 top in 1 attempt for her. Going into this final boulder, this is the final pairings on these 3rd boulders. 2nd discipline for these athletes. 1 attempt gone as Meiji Narasaki seems to be on his warm-up tour once again. This guy's on a different planet here today. Cruises through, no issues, barely even out of breath. Meiji Narasaki seems to be, as I said, on a bit of a different planet, but Julia Kaplina then gets the jump done, fires up nicely with the left hand. This is looking positive. This could be 2 tops for her in not so many attempts, 4 or 5 attempts, could have put it into a potential podium position. Pantelieva then just trying to find the options for the feet. Just needs to concentrate on that left foot on the left hand. Looks like she's going for a match on that hold to go up with the right hand. This should work though. Nicely done. Yulia Pantelieva putting herself in a great position here.
So Meiji Narasaki, he topped the speed climbing. He's now topping the bouldering. If he wins the bouldering, if he comes ranked 1st in the bouldering, he hasn't quite won the competition with a discipline to go, but he's not a million miles off it. Remember, it is your ranking in all three disciplines multiplied together. So your speed ranking, your bouldering ranking, and your lead ranking multiplied together. Meiji Narisaki, after 2 events, could have a score of 1 in the speed and 1 in the bouldering.
There it is then. I'm just saying it's Julia Pantelieva going into the final boulder, 2 tops in 3 attempts, joined with Laura Stockler, also 2 tops in 3 attempts. Really interesting here. Bouldering is kind of causing us some really good situations. This is what we wanted to see in the Olympic combined.
Interestingly enough, Claire Burfine can't top the bouldering here. Even if she flashes this boulder, she'll end up with 2 tops in 4 attempts. That's only good enough actually for 3rd place, with all the climbers still to come.
Claire Burfine had 2 great saves on that first 2 moves there. Stuck the double jump really nicely to start. Then had a slip, but manages to reel it back in. She seems to be back on form a little bit here after her top of the 3rd boulder. Claire Burfine's back on form. Hopefully that will raise her confidence going into the routes. Like I said, she can't win this round, but she can definitely put herself in contention, put herself in a good position going into the route section of the competition. Yannick Fleury, on the meantime, is on board, I think we could say. Just struggling with that bottom section. It's Claire Burfine at the moment then. If you're looking very close to the top, she's looking a little bit powered out here, needs to make a big move. Has the left heel in. Oh, I think it was the left heel that just slowed her down on that top move. Helped her stay on the wall, but just seemed to lose a little bit of height. Yannick Fleury then has been on the wall for quite a long time, hasn't really moved off of the starting position. Jorg Verhoeven and the route setter saying the top holds on this is supposed to represent the Olympic rings, with a tip of the hat to the Olympic Committee, the IOC and the IFSC for climbing into the Olympics for 2020 at Tokyo. This is the first time we've seen this format, as we've said time and time again here today. Yannick Fleury then absolutely perplexed at the bottom of this boulder. He's burnt a lot of time there and he's fallen off right at the bottom of the wall. He's trying to head up to 2 sets of 4 holds that are identical. Comedy DJ's got the Wrecking Ball song on now. He's really clued into this job. DJ's really getting his money's worth out of.
Oh, that's why they're paying the big bucks. Yannick Fleury and Claire Burfine. Claire really needs this. She could be in a pretty terrible position going into the league climbing. In this bouldering and league climbing, her strongest disciplines, she needs a big result here, and she can't actually do any better than 3rd. Needs a top, and how?
Yannick Fleury could also do with a top as well. He's down in 5th at the moment with 1 top in 1 attempt, 3 bonuses in 11. Here's Claire then, looking like she's going to use a similar method. Hope she's got some more power this time, but no. Almost an action replay. It wasn't a replay of her first attempt, just come up short. Yannick Fleury going for the double to the first set of black balls up in the head wall. Claire Burfine then has to be considering her lead competition, surely. So once again, she burns all of her energy, comes up just on the top. You can see it in her face, absolute agony. So Yannick Fleury on the wrecking ball.
Big jump coming up here. I'm not sure where our clock's gone, but they've got 40 seconds left, these 2 climbers.
40 seconds left and Claire's going for another go. This is potentially quite surprising, but she's desperate to get some points on the board here.
Well, it could be all over, perhaps not mathematically, but in reality for Claire before she even gets to the lead wall, so she needs something. She needs a top here on number 4. She's currently down in 5th place.
Oh, Yannick Fleury sticks the jump. At last on the bottom side of the screen, hits the bonus hold, looking so strong, canvassing through now, just a couple more moves left, heads into the Olympic rings, as Claire Burfine heads to the top again, falls, she's exhausted, and Yannick Fleury times out. Good burn, it gives us an indication as to what's required through there. We're going to have another look at this double jump then, off of the wrecking ball into the 2-handed pinches, incredibly difficult move to stick. Interesting start to the final boulders here in Innsbruck as part of the Olympic combined competition. Will Bosey is going to be out next alongside Margot Hayes.
So Claire Burfine, currently in 5th place in the bouldering, could be displaced into 6th. That would be 6th and 6th for her. I'm not going to do the maths just yet, but I'd be amazed if that didn't rule out any chance of her winning the competition. I'd be absolutely certain of that. Before we come back with the lead climbing, we'll do all the mathematics so that we know all the various possibilities.
Will Bosie then, this is obviously the first time that these climbers have tackled any of these positions in these holds in these positions. Just having a look at his different options, was looking at the face out option there. Margot Hayes then just checking out the start. Huge, one of the famous Innsbruck volumes both of these climbers are on. See these a lot, traditionally used in the square here. Concentrate on Will Bosie through the wrecking ball then. Did see Yannick Fleury having to dyno for these two holds. Will Bosie just having a look up.
I've got to say, Jörg Verhoeven was fairly confident the climbers could do that move. So when you're standing on the mats, it looks a very, very long way to those two black holes Will Bosie's launching for. Margot Hayes is now on the mats again. Attempt already for her.
Will Bosie then having a look for his second attempt. Just wiggles himself around. You just catch a great glimpse there of Margot Hayes dropping into the undercut. Really dynamic first move. Nice little 1-2 for the female athletes. This could be up Margot Hayes' street then. Hopefully he hasn't used too much energy on her first couple of burns. Will Bosie's having another look up. Can he get the height? Does get the height, but doesn't quite latch the holes. Chalk explodes everywhere. Let's concentrate on Margot Hayes then.
Mike, you call it. Margot Hayes looks so up for this. Women's number 2, she didn't claim a top, and she doesn't yet claim a top on number 4, but women's number 2, she was absolutely fighting with all she had. If she is saving any energy for the lead route, wow, that's going to be quite a show, because it seems that she is pouring everything she's got into these boulders. She's currently sitting in 3rd place. No climber in the women's competition has 3 tops. Margot Hayes has the opportunity to become that woman here. Will Bosie. He's currently down in 6th place. Top here will move him up to 5th.
Will Bosie looking at a different option then. He has stayed on the right hand side of that big ball that he's on. He's going into a knee bar, but he needs to somehow launch very, very far up and left. He was really close to that with a different method before. Arms out once again for Will Bosie, asking the question, what am I supposed to do? I'm not sure. That's the move, the nice double catch at the bottom. Margot Hayes is up again. She had a really good burn there, as we saw with Claire Burfind. Claire didn't find the top in the end, fell off the last move a couple of times, so seems to be the way if Claire or Margot seems to struggle. It seems to be a hard boulder.
So 1 minute left for these climbers. Will Bosie lining it up again, and he's not really looking very close to sticking that move.
Margot Hayes is just shaking it off. She's going to go for one more go. Will Bosie's having another look, opting for a different method there, facing out. So she's going to go for a little sit down instead for the last few seconds. Doesn't know where he's going, jumps off. Margot Hayes then with just 30 seconds left, currently sitting down in 3rd position. It's not going to be enough. Is she going to pull on for another go or not? She feels like she's got enough time. Is this wise tactics now for both climbers? Will Bosie and Margot Hayes. Margot sticks it one more time. Margot's off as well as Will. Both climbers shake their heads. Couldn't seem to find the right methods. Margot was close to the top and sprints off the stage. Great contact strength. That's such a hard move, so physical. And you can see it was the left hand that went just in the undercut. That sort of eye-shaped volume. The thumb went. Couldn't hold the tension on one hand. Kai Harada out next then. And Aika Tajima. Tajima currently sitting in last position. You can see it there. It's Julia Pantelieva leading the way with 2 tops in 3 attempts.
And somehow Claire Burfind, after 2 gold medals in lead and boulder and a 4th place in speed in the Youth World Championships, is nowhere to be seen in this combined ranking. She just had a bad speed climbing competition.
Can't help but think with Claire that if this was a standalone competition coming into this completely fresh, maybe it would have been a different ball game. You know, we've seen her dominate the lead and the bouldering events. Maybe she's just completely wrecked coming into this Olympic competition. Hard to know.
So if Aika Tajima tops this, regardless of how many attempts it takes, Claire will move down into 6th place in the bouldering. It would be 6th in the speed and 6th in the bouldering for her.
Yeah, if she tops this on this first go, the best she can do is move up into 3rd, knocking Margot down into 4th. Let's see how she gets on. Here we are. It's not going to get her into fourth. Best you can do now is, excuse me, not going to get into a third, but can get up into fourth with a 2 tops. Has a look at that move then. Seems to be hitting the right hand okay, but to hold the swinger and jump out the roof is a classic move. Hitting one hand, you've got to drop into the undercut with the thumb catch on the left hand. Kai Harada, no joy also for him. Starting to look like Yannick Flo is in really good form here on the boulder as Kai Harada faces out to the crowd, has a look at a different option. Oh, goes for the running jump across the top of the volume, across the top of the wrecking ball. That could be quite interesting as we see Tajima now manages to get through the lower section. This next bit could suit her. Really good endurance athlete.
Yeah, she's so calm looking when she's climbing. She's one of those climbers we've seen. There's a couple of them in the IFSC. You're surprised when they fall off because her face betrays absolutely none of the effort she's putting in.
Let's another look at that first move. Sticks it really nicely. Seems to have had the jumps pretty down here actually this weekend.
Yeah, some climbers so expressive. Aika Tajima seemingly just cruises through life and through boulders. Kai Harada came out third, having been fourth in the speed climbing. Combined ranking critical here in Innsbruck. Tactics will be slightly different than in a traditional IFSC World Cup final. We've seen climbers heading in with 50 seconds left on the clock. Don't like a certain boulder.
Let's go. Let's go.
Clock on the screen there is marginally out from the official timing screen, but gives us a really good indication. Under a minute left for Kai Harada then to get this done. Tajima has another look just by the fingertips, misses the left hand undercut. Seems to have bags of endurance, Tajima, but seems to be lacking in the power department slightly. We saw her coming out of the speed competition in 5th, I think it was.
So less than 20 seconds left for both these climbers.
Kai Harada's hunting down a bonus at this point. Oh, I thought he might have had it then, stuck it, pinged off at the last minute. Not meant to be.
And the 4th boulders will go untopped. They remain untopped. We've had 3 climbers in the men's, 3 in the women's. No tops just yet.
Going into the lead competition then, Tajima can't improve her position of 6. Nor can Will Posey, nor can Yannick Flo. They are set in those positions. 4th, 5th and 6th in the men's is already sorted going into the lead competition. All still to play for. At the top of the list then, this guy next can definitely do something special here. Kai Leitner, excuse me. 2 Kais in the same competition. 2 tops in 2 attempts. 2 bonuses in 2 attempts.
Laura Stuckler is tied for first place in the bouldering with Julia Panteleva.
In theory, Kai could win this round if he gets a very quick top here. A flash it would have to be for Maichi and Yoshiyuki not to top the boulder. At this stage that is probably unlikely, but Kai could use his height to his advantage here. A big jump move up and to the left. Can he figure the right method?
Yeah, well, we already know that he'll finish 3rd. He could get better than that, but he'll be 3rd at least, which is superb consistency. Kyle Leitner, he was 3rd in the speed. He'll be at least 3rd in the boulder, and the 3 climbers below him, Kai Harada, Yannick Floy and Will Bosey, have all attempted this boulder and cannot move up. Is he going to try and do this statically? He's having a look. It's almost as if he's goading the route setters and just saying, you can't Kai-proof these boulders. I'm sure he's going to have to jump for it. Meanwhile, Laura Stockler launches into the roof, and you might have heard a big cheer from this Innsbruck crowd.
Laura Laura Stockler then currently sitting in second position, and the crowd knows it, puts herself in a really good position if she can find the only top so far on this women's number 4. Kai goes up with the left hand, ended up going relatively dynamically.
He spent an age lining that one up, Kai Leitner. Laura Stockler, she's been absolutely flying here in Innsbruck. Nobody has topped this 4th boulder. Can she do it? These moves far from a pushover. That hold is close in terms of distance. It's not close in terms of effort. An awful long way to go. She now hugs it. She'll move out to the tiny holes to the right. The route setters have been cruel there. They've closed off the best section of the hold. But she's making it work, Laura Stockler. This for 3 tops. She has a hand on the top. She does not have both.
Agonising to watch there. Laura Stockler. Everybody in the arena gives her a round of applause for that effort. Just had a finger on it. We'll have another look. She was looking absolutely gassed at this point, but still went for it. We saw Claire Burfine come off this hole, but nowhere near as good as that. So you can see it's Kai Leitner now sticks the jump. Heads out to the bonus. No top on this boulder yet. Can Kai Leitner find the first ascent here?
It's getting very tight here in Innsbruck. Junior combined.
Kai Leitner was using his height to his advantage there, but now he has to canvas. Now he gets to show off his climbing skill and his power. Look at the strength in the arms here for Kai Leitner. This section's really confusing now. The finish hold is the far one on the right. Lots of different options here. Absolutely no idea what you're supposed to do with the Olympic rings up there.
Interesting enough. Let's just have another look at it.
30 seconds.
It's a big swing. Wonderful honesty from Mike Langer. I've got absolutely no idea how to do that move, and I have to say I agree. But yeah, as soon as he moved his right hand into a really awkward position. It almost went behind his head, and he looked instantly off balance. Suspected he'd struggle to then get himself corrected. Laura Stockler, if she's going to top this boulder, she better get on with it. She's got 8 seconds left. Needs to match. She'll fire straight through. She's barely got time to readjust, and she will time out. Ditto Kai Leitner. So Kai Leitner will finish in 3rd. It's now a battle for topping this bouldering between Yoshiyuki Ogata and Meiichi Narasaki. Meiichi Narasaki has the advantage because he's taken so many fewer attempts. I wouldn't say he can use unlimited attempts, but given the nature of the boulder, he can basically try this as many times as he wants, and he will still not have used as many attempts as Yoshiyuki Ogata. Franziska Sterra is out in the women's competition. Here she is on the mats. She's currently sitting in 4th place. She could move up to the lead if she flashes this boulder. If she gets it in 2 attempts. So both climbers here able to take the lead. The route setters have got this one absolutely spot on.
Yeah, this would be good if it was a bouldering final on its own, but it's part of the free disciplined event. So the winner won't be crowned after this. They'll just pack up their stuff and move on to the lead wall.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, in that we didn't really see the effect of cumulative effort in the Youth B earlier because the boulders were basically too easy and it didn't take enough out of the climbers, so they had a couple of runs in the speed climbing and then some easy boulders. These climbers here have had an absolutely monumental effort. We could yet see a climber top all 4 boulders in the men, but we're not going to in the women. They have been very, very hard set of boulders. These climbers have got very little time to then recompose themselves, drink a bit, eat a bit, cool down, then little stretch, warm up again, and get back on the lead wall.
Franziska Sterra then on to the cylinder volume in the roof. She's looking good as Yoshiyuki Ogata lines up the jump for one more time. He was really close to it on his first burn. Hits it with one hand, but needs 2. There's no way he's going to hold that with one hand, even though he put an incredible performance on the last climb. Showed his power in that one. Sterra now gets the right hand, gets it with pretty decent conviction, but just bumps it, tries to get the good bit. Seen the other climbers have success holding the bottom of that volume. Yoshiyuki then seems to be going for the pogo with the feet, jumps off the left foot and then nails the right foot as he goes. See what he does this time. He has the right foot up already. Looking for a slightly different method. It's got too much momentum backwards at the moment. Those sorts of volumes that push you away from the wall, it's so hard to find just upwards progression rather than just up and out at the same time away from the wall.
And afterwards,
So this is the method that Will Bosey tried as well, with 1 minute 40 left. Yoshiyuki's having a think about his different options, going for a conventional double catch. Pretty good effort, to be fair. Asked for the holds to be brushed. Feels like he could be in on that sequence. Jessica Stera can't repeat her earlier good burn on that move. Really must suck it out of the climbers, that jump. Let's see what Yoshiyuki attempts now then. So he's thinking quite a lot here, thinking about his different methods. Looks like he's going to go for the conventional double two hands. Has a look at another foot option. He's really not sure what to do with this climb at the moment. Ooh, so close. 1 minute left. Agonising, these final boulders. No tops so far. We've had a hand on the finish hold of the women's one. Nobody into the Olympic rings really at the top. Kai was up into the yellow ring.
Yoshiyuki Ogata pulls back on, 40 seconds to go for him. Ditto, Siska Stera. Yulia Pantelieva still to come in the women's. Meichi Narasaki still to come in the men's, and Yoshiyuki Ogata will not get much closer than that. He is really burning through the attempts. It took him 11 attempts to get the second boulder done, and he's using them up again here. He used 4 on the third boulder, and he's just not finding the method on that jump at all. Regardless of what happens, he'll be at least second, but he wants better than that. He wants to go through in first.
Believe it or not, he's on for another go. It's insane from Yoshiyuki. Oh, he's so frustrated. He just knows he could have done that boulder with a little bit more time. Time's out on the 4th boulder. That ends his campaign. It's the final pair is going to be out there, and it's Meichi Narasaki and Yulia Pantelieva. You can see it there. It's Laura Starkler leading the way, 2 tops in 3 attempts and 3 bonuses in 5. Meichi Narasaki 3 tops in 4. It goes into the final boulder already in the lead. So what tactics will he use? Will any of his coaches give him the nod? Will he bother trying to do this boulder? Will he save the skin ready for the roots?
Interesting one, Meichi Narasaki. He's already going to top this bouldering round. He topped the speed climbing round as well. Perfect start to him in this combined. Yulia Pantelieva climbing in the women's.
Not 100% sure about the sequence here. Seems to go up with the left hand. Needs to just commit to the jump now. Now she lines it up. Goes with the left hand. Interesting. Seems to have slightly misunderstood the sequence here, but be interesting if that works.
A top here, no matter the number of attempts, you could even try and outdo Yoshiyuki Ogata's 11 from earlier on. It won't matter. A top here will put her into first place.
Meichi Narasaki, if he's sensible, just sit on the mat for the next 3 minutes, twiddling his thumbs, and then head back inside, save some skin and save some energy. But he's not going to know that. I think he just glanced off to the scoreboard off to the right, so maybe he already knows. He might give it a couple of half-hearted attempts just to keep the crowd entertained.
Yeah, it's a good point you make. Obviously the last thing the IFSC want to do with this scoring system is try and get athletes not giving 100% on a certain boulder. But Meichi Narasaki, if he looks over at the scoreboard, will know that he could just walk in now and he's already coming top in the bouldering. Interesting one as well in the men's. Just look at the results in the speed. Meichi Narasaki, first in boulder, first in speed. Yoshiyuki Ogata, second in boulder, second in speed. Kai Leitner, third in boulder, third in speed. Kai Harada, 4th in boulder, 4th in speed.
Form book is doing just that. It's the form book going as we wanted. That's quite interesting. So yeah, it shows that there are true all-round climbers. Interesting to see if it stays that way. Meichi Narasaki then, let's be honest, I don't think he's really giving it 100%. He is trying.
Yeah, he's had a good look at the scoreboard now. He doesn't need to do anything to top this round.
Could foresee that as a problem in the future, potentially with a climber just standing on the mats not doing anything. I mean, these climbers love to compete. They love to compete against the boulders as well, so I'm sure they wouldn't purposely just rest. But if an Olympic gold medal was based on it, maybe.
I've got to say, much as I admire Meichi Narasaki, if I was in his position, looked over at the scoreboard and knew that a half-decent performance in the lead would net me an Olympic gold medal, It doesn't matter if there was 3 minutes 59 left of my 4. I'd just take my scorecard straight back off the judges and walk back in. Might be cutthroat, but this is world-class sport, and we'd like to see him giving it a good attempt, but every time he tries this boulder he's losing skin, he's potentially injuring himself. He could just ping a finger, ping a shoulder. There's not really any reason for him selfishly to try this boulder other than to entertain us, provided he's had a good look at the scoreboard.
Julia Pantelieva, on the other hand, is sitting in second position with 2 tops in 3 attempts. If she can find a top here, she'll put herself into first going into the lead.
Yeah, well, she was top in the speed climbing.
Oh, might she
could be top in the bouldering.
Narasaki sticks it anyway, pushes through to the bonus hole. This is looking really good, putting on a show here. Narasaki moves up to the left hand. Kai Leitner is the only climber really to have gotten this high up in the route. This could be a show of force for Narasaki, but no, comes off. Julia Pantelieva walks off as well. That does conclude the bouldering competition. Have one final look. This is Maichi Narasaki's final burn. Put a bit of a show on for the crowd. There was an outside chance that he could have found a top. Found a high point really, but didn't need it in the end.
So Maichi Narasaki is top in the speed climbing. He's also top in the bouldering. Laura Stuckler, who was 3rd in the speed climbing, comes 1st in the bouldering. Julia Pantelieva, who was 1st in the speed, ends up 2nd in the bouldering. Very tight at the top end of both, but Maichi Narasaki clearly in control of the men's. Yoshiyuki Ogata trying to chase. In the women's, it could be anyone's. We're just bringing the bouldering scores. We'll be back in 1 hour's time with the lead final. That starts at 8:45. You can see there Laura Stuckler, 2 tops, 3 attempts. Just pips Julia Pantelieva into 2nd, and Margot Hayes ends up 3rd. Francisca Serra, Claire Burfind and Aika Tajima the rest of the top 6. And in the men's competition, Maichi Narasaki couldn't quite make it a clean sweep of 4 tops. Yoshiyuki Ogata misses out. 17 attempts for him to get his 3 tops. Kai Leitner in 3rd, Kai Harada in 4th, Yannick Floey in 5th, and Will Bosey in 6th. Mike, we've had a long day of climbing here in Innsbruck, but what a show.
Yeah, that was great. No climbers managed to find 4 tops, but it was a really good fight all the way through. Great boulders, nice and hard, and that's what we want to see, and hopefully we're going to see the same in the routes. It's going to be really interesting. Really looking forward to the route section in an hour's time.
Yes, we now have a 1 hour break. We'll be back with the conclusion of this competition, the lead climbing at 8:45 Innsbruck time. We'll see you then.
William Bosey. There'll be now a short break and an 8:45 with decision in lead. Advance, we have the intermediate ranking combined. On 1st position with the 2nd place in